in the shower, you're basically bathing in negative ions. So you're giving your battery a neutral charge, better cell communication, and your autonomic nervous system shifts into a parasympathetic state, which is a calm state. And being happy, and what do you do when you're happy? You sing, you hum, you whistle, you express that happiness somehow.
No one has ever taught us how to recharge our cells. No, I'm not talking about your cell phone. I'm talking about in your body cells. And one of the main markers that your cells are depleted is just low energy. A cell that is depleted will lead inevitably to disease at some point. But here's the good news. The fastest way to recharge your cells are free. Robby Besner for decades has been studying human biology and light. And he's actually built one of the world's largest red light therapy companies. And after years of research, Robby has found that most of us are running almost on empty. And we don't even think about why, but your phone screen, your office lights, all the tech in the world is draining your nervous system and draining your cells. But guess what? The first step is absolutely free. No supplements, no fancy equipment, just one simple change that could transform your energy. He breaks it all down in this episode. Why you're tired, what is actually happening in your cells, and what exactly do you need to do to recharge your system. You're gonna find out how to harness the power of nature to your benefit, to recharge your cells, to get yourself in the healthiest place ever. Robby Besner, everyone. All right, everyone. On the show, I have Robby Besner. If you don't know about this guy, he is a pioneer, brilliant mind, creates the most incredible devices for our healing, internal, even external, superficial. If you have wounds that you need to heal, you don't even know. If I think about the modern day Iron Man from the Marvel movies, I think about you, Robbie. So welcome to the show, man. Founder of Therasage, co-founder of Therasage. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. G. Always a pleasure. And, every time you're so inspirational, love your community, and you ask and emote very thought-provoking concepts that I think is really amazing and very, very relevant to today's world.
I appreciate you, man. And I know your heart is in this. I can feel it. Your heart, you want to just give to people so they do better with their health and create devices that can actually make change in people. And I want to go into a little bit about the devices in itself, but let's go into some rapid fire questions. Are you ready to go, Rob?
I got my seatbelt on. I'm ready.
Okay. So there's a big problem. People are living in homes and not realizing that there are some things in their homes that can be affecting their health. What would you say are the top 2 things in someone's home that they're not considering that do affect their health in a negative way?
Well, probably the first and most paramount is the silent one. That has to do with electromagnetic fields, EMF. So I think that's a big one. Other than that, I think mold is a big problem in most homes. It used to be just coastal cities, but now it's pervasive everywhere. And I think that has a dramatic effect on our health in general. And I think the third is probably has to do with the way that the general public is mollified or nullified into kind of being not necessarily aware of all the chemicals that are in there that they use in their daily activities, laundry detergents and things like that have very, very harmful effects. And when you add them all up and put all the stuff together, it really is very tough on our health and well-being.
What do you think is the biggest threat to this generation youth, the children? What is the biggest health threat right now?
Health threat? I think it has to do with, one, childhood obesity is a big thing. So the food challenge with today, fast food, and kind of the fact that generally our food sources, even the ones that organic food sources, because the soils they're coming from have been depleted, so that they don't quite have the same nutritional value. So you could spend the money, get organic, but still not get the substance that you need in order for your body to thrive, where the supplementation, hopefully plant-based, or organic-based supplements really is super important. So I think the kids, that is really important. Also, it has to do with these iOS devices and and the fact that they're learning, and now with AI has become such a fad to just thumb through things, their attention spans. So I think there's a challenge in community with disconnections because people are focusing on their phones, not on interacting person to person.
Big time. That's great. Yeah, I would say that 100%. That's one of the biggest threats to children's health. I see it all the time. They're looking at their phone. Okay, I got one more for you. There is the phenomena of red light, and this wasn't really spoken about until like, I don't know, 2018, 19, 20. I mean, it's really came to the surface, and it came to the culture. People were hearing more about it. It's been around for a while. For the people who don't know, how the heck can light change our cells? How does a light input from the outside change our cellular input so we can heal in the quickest, punchy way that you can say it?
Wow, it's a tough one because it's a whole interview in itself. But there's more than 100 years of science in how light affects us down to a cellular level. And that's super important. And just recently, we released a device that harnesses light frequencies to an oxygen molecule to support cell health and cell energy. So on a primal level, light and light frequencies and the varied variances in light frequencies are so important for general health and well-being on everything that's living on our planet, not just the animal kingdom, but the plant kingdom as well.
All right, man, you're off the hot seat here. Shall we get to it?
Sit back now.
Let me. It was getting too hot. It was getting too hot. Okay. So you co-founded Therasage, and when I say that you guys are creating products that are actually healing deep-rooted issues in people, and this is incredible because, you know, we spend so much money on all the other things that we think we need, when in reality, we need to go from a cellular level. The flagship product, I think, is the red light or the sauna. You have the portable sauna, which is awesome. How is this affecting our health on a cellular level? How is this different than just taking some supplements?
Well, I don't want to diminish the importance of supplements.
For sure.
But I also feel that mostly it might be part of your community, but as I speak to other communities, and the general public, they focus on kind of the big topics like what they see on TV or maybe read or thumb through on Instagram. There's not a lot of attention paid to the subtle things in nature that have a paramount impact on your health. And one of them is light. Okay, it starts with the Bible, okay? The Old Testament, lightness and darkness and the contrast and the way your body responds. The different seasons that we go through the year. We're in winter now, and so most of us think that just bears go into hibernation, but our bodies, our physical bodies, because of the change in the light, which is a function, it's called the azimuth, which is the relationship of the Earth to the sun. So as the Earth is turning and the sun changes, we change our rotation a little bit. That's what causes the season changes here. And so that change in light frequency and the amount of exposure to that light makes a big difference. A perfect example is a emotional and physical challenge called SADS. So that is basically light deprivation. So as we go into winter, we're wearing a lot of heavier clothes. Mm-hmm. We have less skin exposure to light. We're not making as much vitamin D3 naturally. So we have to be concerned about supplementing with D3 so that we keep that level up. Vitamin D3 is responsible for 1/3 of our physical systems in our body. More than 2,000 different mechanisms are supported by D3, by vitamin D3. And so we need to adjust the amount of D3 in our body as we get less light exposure. So, I mean, that's just one little tip of the iceberg of the different ways that light has an impact on our body functions, on our sleeping patterns. I mean, we have a little gland in the middle of our brain called the pineal gland that's activated by light. It principally produces two different hormones, serotonin and melatonin. Melatonin is the relaxation hormone and gets us ready for sleep and that restorative state when we go to sleep. If we have light exposure at the wrong time at night, it prevents our body and our nervous system, our autonomic nervous system, from transitioning into that restful place, which is so important, especially in today's world, for the brain to produce growth hormones and different enzymes that repair the damage that the environment has done to our bodies from the day before. So absence of light, or having light at the wrong time or the wrong type of light, like the flickering and the blue light that comes from iOS devices and tablets and so forth, if that's introduced too late in the day, too close to our bedtime, it upsets that circadian rhythm or that bioclock. So light, affects us in so many ways that I think really, if I were to do anything in education, and certainly from today's interview, is to express the importance of the subtle energies, light and sound, and how it impacts our physical and well-being.
The flicker, what you mentioned, is not something that we think about. We think about, oh, there's brightness on my phone, I'm going to turn it down. Or let me put it on red light mode maybe, or even put on my blue blockers. But what is phone flicker, and how does it actually affect our health?
Well, there's trillions of different stimuli that we receive all through the day. And our brain, if we were to focus on all those different kinds of stimuluses, we couldn't really focus on living. We couldn't be focused. So what the brain does is it basically triages all this information, on a nanosecond basis. Flicker is one of them, because our eyes are a lot more sensitive, and our retinas and our ocular nerves are a lot more sensitive than the things that we actually see. But again, the brain is triaging. Now, flicker is one of them. Flicker is just the intermittent pulsing of a light frequency, as opposed to streaming, which is just a flow. Okay. So to give you like a broad example, the sun streams light to the earth. So we wake up and we bask in the sun and we just enjoy all that, right? But when there's a solar flare, which is an explosion on the sun, it's actually sending a burst of energy, which expresses itself when it finally gets to the planet Earth. We have disruption of internet. The satellites don't work properly. We have northern lights, which is just very beautiful to look at, but it's showing us some kind of shift in the energy and light that has been, nurturing basically everything living on the planet. So flicker is one of those ones, because you can't, the pulsing is so fast that your brain cannot bring that to your attention, because it would distract you so much that you couldn't focus on anything else in your life. So what it does is it kind of mutes it, or it filters it. So it's still happening, it's still affecting your nervous system, it's still affecting your consciousness, but your brain is allowing you grace and not to focus on the flicker and focus just on the sort of the broader frequencies of light that allows you to get enough information for you to be able to function.
Yeah, I know that if some of the viewers and listeners have done this, you have your phone and you record like your laptop, or someone takes a recording of your phone, you'll see like sort of the lines going up and down, or from top to bottom, kind of flowing down. That's that flicker that I guess our eyes are just perceiving. But like you said, it's like, okay, if I was focusing on this and I was seeing this flicker and actually bringing all of my awareness and focus on it, we'd be exhausted by the time.
That is so relevant, Dr. G, because we don't even understand and comprehend what drains our power through the day.
Yeah.
But just the idea that your brain has to filter all that out, is working extra hard to filter out that stimulus, drains a lot of your life resource. And so you get to the end of the day and you feel like somebody punched you out, and you don't understand where it came from. That type of stress, again, it's very subtle, but yet paramount in terms of your day, your function, and your optimal health,
Yeah, it's cumulative throughout the day. We are not realizing all of the things that are draining. It's sort of like, I know that this is your philosophy. You want to fill up your battery and keep it filled up. And you see us as electrical beings, right? And it's true, we are. medicine maybe hasn't caught up to that perspective yet fully, but the truth is that if we bring awareness to the things that are draining, everyone feels great on vacation. Okay, they're not stressed. Are they on their phone as much? I know that when I'm with family, I'm not on my phone as much. I'm not working on my phone as much. Yeah, I'm less stressed because I'm not working. And my brain feels sharp. My brain feels focused. There's no brain fog. I feel calm. What happens is the flicker, it can cause a lot of anxiety in people because the brain is just continuously perceiving something continuously, even though we're not looking at it. So I love that we started off with the flicker because people don't talk about it enough. And I love that you mentioned it early on already.
Yeah.
Battery. Are we batteries in your eyes? Are human beings electrical beings that need our battery filled up? Hey everyone, I want to take a quick moment to talk about something that has been a non-negotiable part of my daily routine, and that is supporting my body's natural detox pathways. You know that I know that you know that we're all talking about the toxins that we're exposed to in the home, when we walk outside, wherever we go, and every single day we need to protect ourselves. That's just the world we live in. Heavy metals, pesticides, chemicals in our environment. That's the reality of modern life. And your body has an incredible built-in detox system. It is clean. It gets rid of all of the stuff until it's inundated. And if you're living in a city, pay close attention. Glutathione is the game changer as a detoxifier for your body. It's a master antioxidant. And it's called that for a reason. It's your body's primary detox molecule. It binds those nasty chemicals and gets rid of them. And the problem is most oral glutathione supplements get destroyed in your gut. The best one out there is the Ro Nutrition's liposomal glutathione. I've been using it for more than a few months, maybe 3 at this point. It is fantastic. The skin is brighter. My mental health is stronger. I feel lighter, I feel clearer. Ro is different. They use liposomal technology. So basically they wrap glutathione in a phospholipid membrane. It's the same material in our cell membranes. So it actually survives digestion, gets absorbed into the body. And studies show that it delivers 20 times more glutathione. So all you need is a teaspoon a day. I open up my fridge, squirt into a teaspoon, take it in. It's one of the first things I do every single morning. If you're focused on detoxifying, brain health, liver health, hormonal health overall, you want to consider taking glutathione. But you don't want to just take any. You want to go for a liposomal form. Ro Nutritions is my favorite. They're giving you, the Heal Thyself listener, 20% off site-wide. Go to rhonutrition.com and use the code DRG at checkout. That's 20% off anything on the site, rhonutrition.com. The code's DRG. Let me talk to you something that has been a total game changer in my home, and it's probably not what you think. It is an air purifier, because what we breathe in matters as much as what we eat or drink. And air quality in our homes can be filled from everything from mold spores to pollen to smoke to allergies. And air purifiers are so important. Most of them are going to be in plastic boxes, make a lot of noise. And then I discovered the Jasper. The Jasper was brought to me by my sales team, and they said, this is a fantastic air purifier. And I looked into it, and it was true. I love it so much that I got the founder on. And what immediately caught my attention is the design. It's so many of the air purifiers are clunky, antiquated looking, 90s looking, and this is sleek, quiet, and powerful. But here's what really got me. It's built with steel, not plastic. So we're talking about machines that are actually built to last. So Jasper handles everything from smoke to mold to pollen, all the allergens that make you feel terrible without you even realizing why. Whether you're dealing with seasonal allergies, live in an area that is susceptible to wildfires or smoke, or just want the cleanest air possible in your home, get this. I am confident that you will love it. It has a lifetime warranty. Yes, lifetime. That tells you everything you need to know about the quality and engineering that goes into these units. Since I've been using my Jasper for about a year now, I have 2 running. One's on the first floor, one's on the second floor. I have 3 actually. 1 first floor, 2nd, 3rd floor. And I've noticed cleaner air, better overall sleep, and just an overall sense that my home environment is clean. The air is nice. We tested it. We have people come in and test the air, and they say the air is super clean. Thank you, Jasper. Go to jasper.co/DRG and use the code DRG for $200 off for a limited time. That is JASPR.co/DRG. The code is DRG.
Totally. Absolutely. Every cell is a battery. And there's a great, one of my dear friends, Dr. Jerry Tennant out of Dallas, Texas, he built a whole thesis. His whole rollout is about the body voltage. Mm-hmm. And this is his research, okay? And it was so important to me, Dr. G, that I changed my whole sequencing of protocols that has made a tremendous difference in the results that we're seeing in clinic. And so His idea is basically a cell is like a little battery. Imagine, you ever have any of these batteries that are rechargeable? Have you ever?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, okay. You put them back in the thing.
You get this battery. It's got a different color wrapped around the outside, so it's different than the normal Ever-Readies or whatever you use. And then you get a little charger, and you put that battery in the charger, and usually it's red, and then it turns green when the battery's fully charged, right? And then you put it back in your flashlight or wherever it's going. Now, the way it works, if you take that same AA battery and you drain it down completely so there's no charge in it, it's exhausted, the polarity of that battery flips. So the positive pole becomes negative and the negative becomes positive. All right? Now our cells work the same way. Our cells are a battery. It has a positive and a negative charge. Most of us walk through life. I'd say 95% of everybody listening today is their polarities are off. They don't touch the earth anymore. They don't get the negative ion charge from the earth to balance their body battery charge. So they're a little bit more positive than negative. Now, in order for your cell to be optimal and function and communicate cell to cell on an optimal level, the actual battery charge of the cell has to be neutral. So the same amount of negative and the same amount of positive. But because we live in a modern world, most of us, now I'm not talking about if you're tuning in today and you're in Bali and you dig your feet into the sand and you wake up hugging palm trees and all that kind of good stuff. I'm not talking to those people. But generally speaking, if you're living in an apartment, if you're living in a modern home and it's controlled air where you've got LED lights or even fluorescent lights if you're in your workplace, if you have used air conditioning and heating to, control the airflow in your environment, it's producing what's called a positive charged particle or cation. Now, when you're surrounded with these positive charged particles, your body takes on that extra positive charge. That's what causes our body battery, our cell battery, to be more positive than negative. Now, the cure is simple. It doesn't cost a lot. Kick your shoes off and just touch the earth or touch something planted into the earth like a tree. Yeah. And that brings the negative charge of the earth into your body battery, every cell and your total body to neutralize. Okay. Now, I'm going to get personal for a minute, if you don't mind. Dr. G, do you sing in the shower?
Of course. I sing in the shower every day, I think, since I was a kid.
Why do you think it is? Now I'm talking biology or physiology. Why do you think it is that you sing in the shower?
It feels good. The acoustics, it feels good in there.
Okay, cool. All right, so I've got this isn't the first time I've asked the question, so there's a full range of answers. But feeling good is part of it because you're singing because you're happy or you have a sense of well-being. A calmness. It isn't just that you're soaping up and you're getting clean. It's like you've shifted your autonomic nervous system from whatever that state was before you walked into the shower to a much calmer state, right? Now, physiologically, I'll tell you what's happening. When the water comes through the shower head, the friction of that water through the shower head is eliciting or releasing negative ions, which is the earth charge. It's just like walking along the side of the beach, along the shore. When the wave hits the shore, that friction is releasing a negative ion. Now, because our body batteries are more positive, we're thirsty. We're questing for negative ions to neutralize that cell charge. Now, in the shower, you're getting up in a small stall or big stall. Probably in your house, it's a big stall. And you're basically bathing in negative ions that's coming from the shower head. So you're neutralizing your charge, which is giving your battery a neutral charge, better cell communication, emotionally speaking, and your autonomic nervous system shifts into a parasympathetic state, which is a calm state. And all that wraps up into a sense of well-being, being happy. And what do you do when you're happy? You sing, you hum, you whistle, you express that happiness somehow. So now I have a third reason for me, because my voice is so bad, Dr. G, that when I sing, all the rodents, all the insects, I don't need an exterminator in my home because they just run to my neighbor's house. So, I mean, that's another thing for me.
That's good.
Yeah. So this charge, the subtle thing, like we started our discussion today, these subtle energies have such a big impact, and it can be measured. We can measure body voltage. We can measure cellular voltage. We can actually, in a laboratory and a clinical setting, we can show the difference when your cells communicate optimally or when they're impaired. Now, when you have the proper voltage, and you need 20 millivolts of voltage for a cell to function properly. But when you have a cell that is impaired, under attack, now we're talking about your immune system also, you need 50 millivolts of charge to get that guy on target. So this body electric, the body voltage is such a key discussion that nobody focuses on for optimal health, because I believe that we get sick on a cell level and we heal on a cell level. So if we give our cells the charge they need so that they can fight back and not being drained all day, like we are from our environment, from the epigenetic expressions and so forth, then I think we can survive and really be healthy. And a lot of the chronic challenges that I'm sure you see in your clinic and people that you talk to in your community, a lot of that stuff is going to start to peel away from something as simple as just stabilizing or creating a neutral environment on your cells, giving yourself that negative ion that I just talked about.
Yeah, big time. If we start looking at our cells like it's literally cells, electrical cells, we have to be able to charge up that battery. And I think that a lot of us don't know that we're consistently on low. If you look at the iPhone, we're on the red with this little tiny bar left, and we live our lives like that. And you mentioned something so easy and important is just putting your feet on the ground or touching something that is grounded or walking by the beach, appreciating what's happening in the shower and actually feeling your system change, because I know mine does. And all of those are fantastic. But I want to talk about you, Mr. Iron Man, and what you've been doing. And you're helping create these devices that are coming onto the market that are making a difference. The first one that I saw was the portable sauna that after I saw it, it was the first one that actually was non-toxic, that gets hot enough, like proper hot, where first time I tried it, I was in shock how much I was sweating in the first 10 minutes, like literally dripping. And it can be in an apartment, it can be in a studio apartment, it can be in a big house, wherever it is. So I got it from my brother and my dad, actually. I got it from my brother and my dad, and they use it all the time.
Cool.
But I want to talk about your products. What is the drive to create the Therasage products that are coming out to the market and that are really helping heal people?
What's the drive? Wow. I think, like yourself, when you come to a place of being in service, like it's beyond just, there's no, like we have a few sayings at Therasage. One is people before profit. And so we had a life experience with our daughter contracting Lyme disease. And when we had that experience as a family, we were hit with really large medical bills between travel and doctors and medications and so forth. And when you have that experience, it changes your headset or the way that you bring, for me, the way I bring my products forward. And so if you look at, we could probably sell the devices we make for 30 or 40% more. We can mark them up by 100% and then discount them in front of Black Friday and all that stuff that people do for marketing. But we don't do that. What we do is we keep our prices consistently low. Yes, we run sales and things like that. And I think actually we'll probably have a real special price and discount for you and your community, which you'll coordinate and let everybody know later on. But but the idea is that I think from a philanthropic point of view, we're driven from our own life experience, so that we feel, in a sense, and I'm not being trite about this, the pain that our customer feels, particularly if they're, have a chronic challenge. And because Lyme disease, which is what my daughter had, is one of the ones, like cancer, like all these chronic challenges. And the statistics, I mean, they're enormous. With all the money and all the research in all these different areas, it seems like the cardio challenges, the dietary diabetes challenges, all these challenges can be corrected, just through using natural terms and some of the devices we make. But this inspires me. We are being more discerning these days, but it's very important for me to go to these conferences and get on stage and talk to community, but also mostly to have people come to my booth and I ask them, so tell me what's going on in your life. Tell me, what is your pain? What is your challenge? And that inspires me to be a better device developer, because I'm not looking at the GAO and the government statistics about trends in healthcare. I'm actually talking to you, and I'm talking to one of your part of your community, saying, what's your challenge? I want to know what's relevant today, because as a device developer, I get inspired by that. So we make the devices, we deliver them on time, and then what we like to do is we like to kind of understand the health application. So some of our competitors, they just care about the sale, Dr. G. They just give me a sale. They don't care whether they use the device or not. For me, we touch everybody that we talk to, we touch personally. And we created actually a free coaching service that you can call our 800 number, make an appointment, talk to one of my trained health coaches, and hey, I have this challenge, what's the best device? Or I bought this device, what's the best way to use it to get to my goal? We created all of those services and that information and education to answer the question, which is, so I get inspired by you, by your community. I also have some guidances, which is I'm sort of connected to my spiritual guides, and they say, hey, Robbie, go left, don't go right here, and all that kind of stuff. So I have to say, it's not just me alone. It takes, I want to say, a community or a village, to bring it all together. So I'm just one of the pieces of the puzzle. I have a really, really strong, very well-educated company and people that have been trained and work for us, and I couldn't do it all by myself. But on the creative side, I really like to be there in touch with the flow of really the pulse of the change that's happening and my perceptions of that. And then I integrate those concepts into the various different devices we make.
Yeah. I can feel, and when I said this in the beginning of the podcast, your heart in this. And these are the type of people who run the companies that are heart-centric, that are wanting to do right by us, that I want to bring people on the show, because these are the type of companies that I want my community to support. These are the companies where it's not just like, here, buy this, take this, whether you use it or not, it's fine, but we got a sale. But it really is about like community, connection, follow through. I care about each person. For me, if I ever launch a company, that's the exact mold that I want to take. Is I want to follow through. I want to know the person, and have people on staff who know the person, and you have a pulse, and that's really important. So I just want all the viewers and listeners to know why we're talking, is because I want people to feel inspired by people like you. And this is how it should be for companies. And I just want to say that because I'm sure you've heard it before, but it needs to be said again. Now for the good stuff. You got a red light shining behind you. You got the sauna that I talked about. Before we even got on our call, I've seen a device I've never seen before in my life. You had a glow-in-the-dark razor-looking thing that was helping you, talking about collagen in the face. There's an aesthetic piece. What's exciting right now on the Therasage line?
Well, I'm talking about within the last 3 weeks, introduced what I consider a groundbreaking primal healing technology that I'm just so excited about it. I almost can't sleep at night, Dr. G, frankly. And we call it Thera Air. Okay, so I have a few different sort of boxes I check when I develop things. And one is, can I make it affordable for everyone to have in their homes? Hopefully portable too. Is it something that you can work into your lifestyle that is easy to adapt to? So I'm not taking you away from your family, or the normal sort of flight pattern you have already created that you're somewhat happy with, And then is it a technology that really can make a huge difference in your health journey trajectory? So these are all kinds of bigger questions that I ask whenever I go to development. And I got that loving feeling when I stumbled on the power of healing from infrared, which is the genesis and the whole industry we built around Therasage as a company and how people know us. So here I am reinventing myself after 25 plus years in Therasage in bringing a new technology to the market that's called Thera Air. Now, we did have a first generation of this, so there's 25 years of clinical science on this technology. But what we did was something very unusual. And what we created what's called rainforest air. So rainforest air is the purest air on the planet. Well, why is that? Well, there's a very unique mechanism that happens in the rainforest that when the early part of the day, very early before the sunrise, there's a singlet water molecule it's a single water molecule that forms like a dew droplet that forms on a leaf. And then the sun rises, and that early morning sun frequency, light frequency, actually restructures the water molecule, that single water molecule. It combines with the air that's surrounding that water molecule. In a trillionth of a second, it forms a very unstable situation and stabilizes in a trillionth of a second. So by the time I've thought about it, it's happened and unhappened, okay? Mm-hmm. It was unstable, it formed, and then became stable. That's called singlet oxygen energy. Now, in the past, the last 25 years, now we're talking about laboratory and clinical science on this mechanism and what it does for us. The way that it was delivered was through basically bubbling water and then running that through a light catalyst or a light source, again, creating the same thing that happens in the rainforest. Mm-hmm. What I discovered just recently, it's been maybe 18 to 22 months, is that you don't need the water molecule to deliver the light into the body. It's actually the oxygen molecule that's doing it. So H2O, there's H2, there's two hydrogens in one oxygen molecule. We've created a device called Thera Air that doesn't use water, and it's in three formats. There's a portable format that you can plug into a battery backup or plug into a wall. So you can have it in your backpack, you can be off the grid and get this type of energized air, light activated oxygen. So we are attaching a light molecule to an oxygen molecule. And as we're breathing, you're breathing basically light directly into your body. Well, I'm sure you probably know from your own studies as a practitioner, but going back to even high school, people are taught that the powerhouse of the cell is the mitochondria. Well, what gives the mitochondria power? What's the fuel? What fuels that? And the answer is light. This light molecule that we are attaching to oxygen is actually fueling the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse. It drives the cell energy. It drives our physical being. And so there's a lot more deeper science about protein folding and reactive oxygen species and the stimulus that does for the body in a healthy way. That comes from the science of this, but we've created this in three formats. One You can have a little device that sits on your night table that fills the room with this air. So while you're sleeping at night for 7 or 8 hours, you're just breathing this light activated oxygen. So you're healing while you're sleeping. The other is the portable format that I mentioned. And the third format is a clinical device. So it's set up to have basically 2 patients. Maybe they're doing an IV drip and they can also be breathing. So let's go back to the initial premise. It's affordable. It's portable. We have a version that's portable. It's primal in healing because you're breathing. Like, I'm not asking you to jump up and down, take 14,000 steps in a day, do your regimen, workout, and all that stuff, whether you have time for it or not. I'm asking you to have this device on and just either have it in the room filling the air and breathing the air that way, or maybe using what we call a breathing boom or a cannula to get this oxygen into your body, raising your blood oxygenation level, which is the number one reason why we age over time, is through oxidative stress. Over time, as we get older, we make less nitric oxide, and our blood, our hemoglobin's ability to hold on to oxygen starts to diminish. That starvation of oxygen is one of the major reasons why we age. So we can slow down the aging process, and in many cases reverse the aging process, just by breathing this light activated air. This is so important, Dr. G. I feel I got the same warm and fuzzy as I got from discovering infrared 25 years ago, feeling that love right now. And I'm so happy to be here to talk to your community about it and certainly bring that out to the world.
Hell yeah. And I want to let everyone know, viewing, listening, I didn't know about this. This is the first time I'm hearing about it because I wanted full surprise. I didn't want anything. No, I didn't want to look at anything. I wanted to truly feel it in my body. So this is the first time that I'm hearing it, and for anything like this, by the way, which I want to get into in a moment, but the community too, which is awesome. That's what I mean, the innovation. It's like, what else? What do we need? What's primal in healing? What do we breathe, we walk, we eat, we poop, right? And my question is this, it's delivering air. Let's say there's one without a cannula in the nose. Is it delivering air to our space? Is it a little device that I can put by my bed and it's shooting out air and it's mixing with the room air? Or does it have to be
It's sitting right here. This is the device right here.
Oh yeah, there it is, huh?
Okay, can you see the red light behind it?
Yes,
can you see the light coming out?
Yeah.
Can you see the light coming from behind it there?
Yeah.
The red light? I'm not sure.
I see it.
I just unplugged it, but this is the size of the device.
Tiny.
That just sits right on your night table like that. And the air that's coming through here, because what happens is we have a little filter behind here. So it's filtering the air from the room, taking out particulates. Inside here, there's a specialized light catalyst that we developed. The air is being brought over that light catalyst, attaching that light molecule to the oxygen, and then it's coming out the front. And so basically it's filling the room. Now, it can't fill a room that's 30 by 30, but a normal bedroom like 10 by 15, or actually we've tested out to 20 by 20, which is a nice size bedroom. You could have this thing running for basically endless time, but 5, 6 hours, 7 hours a night, 8 hours while you're sleeping, you just basically just breathing in the air. And it just sits on your night table, minding its own business, breathing health and life into every breath, because it's supporting cell energy and cell integrity. And I think that is the key to health and well-being.
It's incredible. And you mean to tell me I don't have to like wake up and like, sit down and just stay in this one spot and do all these things with it? I can just have it by me and it's producing that air. It's so cool. It's so cool. And it's for the people listening and can't see it. It's the size of, you could fit it in your palm. You can hold it with your palm for sure. It looks really light too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bring it on the airplane. What about on the airplane? Is that something that would be beneficial?
This one's not the portable. This is the one that plugs in for your night table. But the one that's portable has a little port in the front, and you can hook up your breathing device to it, or you can just turn it on and have it the direction of the airflow coming towards you. Remember, it's a very unstable molecule. So it doesn't like, it wants to stabilize. That's basically what, so the further it gets away from the device, it starts to get diluted in its impact. So that's why this one, when you have to breathe through the night, like 6-7 hours, but when you're using a cannula and you're using the other version model of this device, and you're breathing it directly in through your nose, then it's going right into your lungs. Basically, one of the fastest ways to get things into your bloodstream is through breathing.
So what should we expect to feel beneficially by breathing rainforest air device by Therasage?
Okay, so there's a few things. It has been proven. Now I'm talking about clinical science. And laboratory science has been proven that it helps neuroplasticity. So people that are experiencing any kind of neurological challenges, it'll help with that. So we're talking about Parkinson's, MS, ALS, like challenges with cognition. So brain fog, things like that. That's, the precursor to maybe more advanced neurological challenges or cognitive challenges. But it starts off with brain fog, right? Which is really just sort of inflammation, and the brain is trying to settle down that inflammation and expresses itself by being a little foggy. So that is one. The other avenue has to do with breathing challenges. So anybody that has COPD or challenges with their respiratory issue, of course, it'll help there, because the first place this light energy is going to through the oxygen is basically the cells and all the things that support bringing oxygen into your bloodstream. Lastly, or in addition, it helps with wound care. So if you just come off surgery or any challenges there, it does create what's called protein folding. So probably from your own experience and education, proteins are building blocks of muscle and obviously important for body function, right? Well, in order for a protein to be fully formed in the body, proteins they're like little spaghetti strands. And probably, I don't know if you did this when you were a kid, I'm probably dating myself, but do you remember those balls that we made out of rubber bands? We just put a rubber band around a rubber band.
I used to do that. Yeah, I used to do that.
Okay. Well, imagine the center of that ball being a water molecule. And in order for a protein to fully form properly, that water molecule has to be structured. Guess what structures that water molecule? The light frequency. So we're bringing this light into your body, supporting cell energy. So if you're lethargic or if you have chronic fatigue or things like that, what could you expect? Well, you're going to get more energy. You don't need to drink energy drink anymore in order to get that. You're getting it just by breathing, imagine. And then on the protein folding piece, now we're structuring that same light energy is structuring the water inside your body. And now these spaghetti strands that are looking for a structured water molecule to fold around in order to form a protein, we're providing the precursor to that protein is that protein folding process. We're providing the light and the structured water within your body to do that. I mean, these are pretty fundamental dynamic mechanisms in our body that make a huge change in the way we feel, and mostly our immune system, to be able to live in a toxic world that we're living in these days, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And even disconnected, like you said, not everyone, especially people. I remember when I was living in the city, I didn't put my feet on the ground hardly ever. Where I couldn't even find a patch of grass. I was in Philly, and you find a patch of grass and there's trash all over it. And so that's why it's important to really, really, really support yourself with the things that you can do at home. And after I spoke to you last time, I was so inspired to get right back in the sauna and put my feet on the ground. I want to be older and vibrant. I want to be glowing, and it's such an important piece. The portable sauna I know is one of your best sellers, and I tell everyone, if you can't have or don't want one of the big saunas, there's the portable one, and that is just as good. And it is, if not, I'll tell you right now, it gets way hotter than the saunas that you go to in the gym. you will sweat like profusely in the first 10 minutes. Really quick about the sauna. What is the number one benefit that you found in all of your people, consumers who are buying them? And thank you for the sauna. I got the. What is the thing that you hear? We already know the medicine, the science behind it. What do you hear people wise? What are they saying about the portable sauna?
Well, I think, the people are getting more restful sleep. They wake up and they're just more energized. They're more functioning within their work environment and also within their family. They just have more time to devote to the passions in their life because they don't have to, they're not sluggish and they're not, kind of, it's like a fish swimming upstream. They feel like they're more in the flow of enjoying their lives and feeling healthier, more vibrant. There's a weight loss component to it, but we don't really advertise that. If you did no change, you didn't change your activity or your dietary consumption, and you did sauna every day for about a half hour, you'd probably lose 2.5 to 3 pounds a month. Now that may not seem like a lot, but in the course of a year, it could be 30 to 40 pounds, right? You don't have that to lose, but some of us out there maybe carry an extra 5 pounds here and there. And just to have the health benefit of the detox, the other part, we are living in a very toxic world, and that affects us in so many ways, mostly creating inflammation. So toxicity creates inflammation. Inflammation creates a symptom. So many of us in these days, in a lot of science, mostly Western science, they look for one single thing, one root cause of my health challenge. But we're complex beings, and we have complex systems in our body. I don't believe it is any one thing. I think there's a lot of mitigating and contributing different influences that cause these changes. And what I do know is the science on infrared and the science on saunas. And this is not just me talking. Dr. Rhonda Patrick has done a huge, deep research on the benefits of sauna. Countries and communities like the whole Ukrainian bloc, they have saunas that are integrated, and they use them for both social, get together and talk about old times and sweat out their poisons. You've got the Native Americans in the U.S., and all over the world that they've integrated the sweating as part of a ritual. Yeah. But there's the other side is all the health benefits. So where'd the ritual come from? I mean, it just didn't come out of thin air. People felt better, like generally speaking. And so why not develop a whole system that around that event, that sweating of that, right? And then, I think that overall you feel more energetic. And I think, more than anything, I think, Dr. G, I love the idea that we develop devices that you can buy and you can use, that you can take a little bit more responsibility for your own health journey. You don't have to lean into the Western approach to medicine, the doctor's taking care of me. I love the idea I can research and I can buy a device. I hope it's ours, but if it's not ours, just the idea that you can research, and through, guys like you that have put together an ensemble of great minds that have great research and a lot of interesting devices and applications, but just to be able to incorporate them into your home, into your lifestyle, so that you take control over your life journey and not lean into the government or the EPA or agencies and other people to manage your healthcare. And I think that empowering that is, I think, a really, really big thing.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because a lot of us feel that all our dependency for our health would be in conventional. Okay, what does the doctor say? Oh man, this medication, I have to start on another one. We're sort of taking our power back. It's just incredible. And I would say the thing that really strikes my heart is that you want to make it affordable for everyone, right? That there's a lot of companies that would be like, raise the prices, we'll do a sale every now and then there you go. But I think that the longevity of your company is a testament towards that, because there's heart in it. And I'll go back to that heart part. Okay, so before we wrap, I want to know, what does the day look like for you? For Tony Stark, Iron Man, what does he do when he wakes up, I'm assuming that you go right outside and put your feet on the ground. But after that, what happens?
Full disclosure, okay? What I'm going to tell you now is not normal. Okay, so I start my day. Usually, first off, I don't set an alarm clock. I wake up when my body tells me. I guess I'm lucky like that. But that usually is 4:30 to 5 o'clock in the morning. It's pretty dark out.
Wow, early guy. Okay.
Yeah. But I also go to bed around 9 o'clock in the evening. So that's my time. I wake up and I sleep with a weighted blanket at night. And so I restrict my motion back and forth. And generally what that does is allows me to stay in my deep restorative state for a longer time. Since I've been using and developed our weighted blanket, I've doubled my restorative or REM sleep. So usually an hour to an hour and a half is kind of normal. I'm up to 3 hours now. So to give people a perspective, 3 hours of deep restorative sleep is like 8 to 10 hours of sleep, like in 3 hours. So that's the impact there. So I already start off in a better position than most out there because I'm focusing on that sleeping pattern to allow myself to actually be more energized and more healthy, even on a cell level when I wake up. Now I get up when my body tells me. And then I immediately have a warm drink. I have a glass, about 8 ounces of water. I take a binder, which is activated charcoal. That is like a biosponge to grab the poisons that I've accumulated through the night while I was detoxing, as well as the ones I'm going to get when I step into my sauna. So I drink a glass of water, take a couple of binders, then I drink a warm, sort of a coffee cup filled with what's called Shilajit. And Shilajit comes from the ones that we get is from the Russia area, and different. It's made in different parts of the world, but it has humic and fulvic acid, which is also a binder, and it also has a lot of trace minerals that are important to get back. And so I take that, and then I jump in my sauna, and I'm usually there for about 45 minutes. I stack other hacks while I'm in that sauna. So I'm bringing in ozone, elevating the oxygen level. Now I'm breathing the Thera air. I'm breathing it through a cannula. I'm stacking that. Sometimes I bring essential oils. When you're in sauna, whether it be our sauna or any sauna, and you're sweating, you're activating your skin to be a lot more, it's like kind of a revolving door. You're pushing out toxins, but you're also allowing your skin to breathe in whatever's in the air in your environment. So if I fill that air with concentrated oxygen or with an essential oil like lavender, or if you've got a challenge like eucalyptus, helps you with your breathing, but an essential oil is really a medicine. And now I can breathe that medicine through my skin and through my nose directly into my bloodstream, which is part of what I do. We do have a reflexology piece in the sauna, so I rub my feet back and forth, and I open up all the different meridians on your feet that tie to body functions. So I do sauna. Then usually while I'm there, I'm also reflecting, setting my intentions for the day, and reflecting and taking grace and asking for forgiveness. That's usually why I'm in for 45 minutes, because it takes me a while to catch up from all the sins I had before.
Forgiveness, please. Yeah.
And then by then we're talking like 4:35. I'm probably 6 to 6:30. The sun's rising. I like watching the sunrise and get that first minute to 2 minutes of early morning sun light directly into my eye. That also resets my circadian rhythm. Then I'm back to doing research. I welcome my family. They're usually getting up around then into the day. And then usually between 9 and 10 in the morning, I get on my bike and I ride on the ocean front for about 10 miles. Then I jump into the water and I get the ocean spray, and I get the ocean, all the minerals and so forth from that. That's about an hour to an hour and a half out of my day. And then I come back and I go into my cold plunge. So that resets my nervous system. And my cold plunge, I set it around 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So I've revved up my body, and I've created a whole bunch of really cool things happening inside. And then I jump into the cold plunge to downregulate and get back and get energized on a cell level. And now we're looking at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. I basically lived a pretty full day between 4:35 to 10, and I'm ready for research. I'm ready to help manage my business and do what I can to create great new things for everyone, for the world.
No, that's 2 separate days. That's the restorative, electrical, energetic optimization part of your day. And then there's the business guy part of your day. That's a crazy morning. I tell you, man, every time I speak to you, I feel so inspired. First of all, I need to wake up earlier. That's one thing I'm getting from this. Second of all, is I need to do more things in the sauna. So I need a cannula. I need my feet going. And then the third thing is I live by the ocean. I need to jump in the ocean. It's just that sometimes it's a little weird in Venice. You know how it is over here. You probably have a really nice, clean beach. And so, dude, awesome. Awesome. Not only you as a person, you as a entrepreneur and a leader of the business and a device developer, an innovator. It's so cool just to hear your passion, and thank you for educating us. Like I learned a lot, and I thought I knew a lot, and I learned a lot from you just now. And viewers and listeners, like, if you want to support a good quality company, one who's doing right by us, one who's putting out products that work, that are affordable, go see Therasage. Go on the website, check the show notes. Everything is in there. We're going to have a link provided that is going to give you all an exclusive discount. So the holidays are right around the corner. The New Year's around the corner. Go check out everything that they have. And yeah, it's time to up-level our health.
Cool. Thanks for having me today. This was awesome. Back at you, Dr. G, because you asked the right questions and you're on the pulse of what people want to know. And I think that makes a difference, because you can read things, you can study things, but everybody listening wants to know what they can do tomorrow to change their lives. And that's what you bring out in interviews like this. So I appreciate you having me on, and hoping we get together again soon.
Hell yeah, everyone. Therasage.com. Check the link. You're going to have a very specific link. I want you to click on that. And thank you so much, Robbie, for being on the show. And we'll talk to you for the next one very soon.
Cool. Enjoy the holidays, buddy. Appreciate you.
All right.